Hey everybody, Omar here, your host of the Edge of South Africa. I'm bringing to you once again another knife maker that I'm trying to pretty much promote. He's actually kind of becoming now getting into his own. He's been picked up by the Blade Gallery. Uh, if you want to check out his work, his name is Hennie Duplessis. And you can check his work out at the Blade Gallery. He's got, I believe, about six knives on the Blade Gallery website. For those of you guys that might want to check out his work. So I've got a history with this knife maker. Again, his name is Hennie Duplessis. Here in front of you, you see two models of knives that he's made. This one is pretty much the story or my story with meeting this guy. Let me put this one aside because I'm going to get back into this one in a minute because there's a huge promotion going on for this knife, and I want to talk about that as well. So this is the first knife that I'd ever seen made by this guy. As you guys know, I'm a knife enthusiast. I was walking into the Blade Gallery. Really didn't have anything planned that day. I just planned on, wanted it was like kind of like on the prowl looking for something to me on. Plus the fact that he had this sort of Damascus pivot, and I'm a big Damascus fan, so he put a Damascus pivot. And then when I turned it over and saw the pocket clip, I thought, okay. I kind of just looked at Jeff and said, okay, how much? I'm not going to mention how much it was, but he told me the price, and I pretty much just bought it right off the bat. It just got me that easily. One of the names that comes to mind when I think about Hennie Duplessis is John Arnold. The shape and look of his knives they tend to have the same feel, the same look in certain aspects as far as the rawness of how the knife is made. And I could obviously tell when I first bought this knife, which, by the way, the model knife is called the T. Griffin. I am very sorry that I have no idea why it's called the T. Griffin, but that is the name that he decided to go with this knife. And from looking at this knife when I first picked it up, a lot of things kind of came to mind to me. One of them was John Arnold. Actually, I'll be right back. Let me get one of his knives so you guys can take a look. Okay, so this is a knife by John Arnold. I'm sorry I didn't get this one out. Hope I didn't keep you guys waiting too long. But this is a knife by John Arnold. And as soon as I saw Hennie Duplessis' T. Griffin knife, it immediately reminded me of this knife. And if you take a look at it, there's kind of some sort of similarities between the two. The fact that these two guys kind of make knives where there's sort of like these sort of sharp, jagged edges. I mean, that told me right off the bat that it's going to be an art knife overall. They tend to do almost the same thing with the blade shapes. I mean, where you can see John Arnold has this sort of swedge here, and then it points down to this pointy thing. Now we take a look at the T. Griffin. We almost have the same sort of look with the knife drawing and coming down to a point. He also has an affinity for swedges on knives, so you guys can take a look at that. That's really unique and exclusive to every knife maker that makes knives as far as how they decide they're going to handle the blade shape, because every knife artist will take a particular blade shape, whether it would be a Warncliffe style blade or a drop point blade or a clip point blade or whatever, and they'll do their own version of that to give it more of an artistic flair. Both these knife makers have done that over the years. John Arnold's real famous for it. I mean, I think as soon as people see this blade shape, they just know it's a John Arnold knife. And because of that, I was like, man, this guy looks like a John Arnold knife maker. And I'm a huge John Arnold fan. And so I just decided to go ahead and purchase this one. Where the differences lie, I mean, actually, let me open this up again. I'm kind of gonna kind of jump around on this video because everything I do is pretty much just off the cuff. So where these guys kind of diverge or different, John Arnold just pretty much sticks almost to the traditional sort of drop point, Warren clip style. Whereas now we've got Henny Duplessis doing something completely different overall. No one has ever seen a blade shape like this. I haven't. I mean, you guys can see that it sort of starts out sort of slightly reminiscing a worn cliff, but then it's got this sort of recurve on it, so it's completely, totally unique to him in essence. And of course, his jimping is completely different. He does really huge, spaced out jimping. I thought that was really unique. They don't necessarily have to be finite. And he's one of the first knife makers I've seen where the jimping isn't finite, but it's actually sort of really large. And it actually, ironically, it works pretty good in your hand. Despite the overall shape of the knife, the ergonomics are just fine. I don't have any odd spots when I hold this knife. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I mean, you can see the differences between John Arnold and Henny Duplessis. Now, back to Henny Duplessis. This guy pretty much kind of struggled for a while as far as getting his name out there and known. He is currently at the point in his career where he's got a couple of models that he's going to start to push that would define him as a knife maker, so that when you see the knife, you're just going to go straight to him and go, yeah, get me one of them. A little background on Henny Duplessis. Obviously, he's from South Africa. I can't remember the name of the city that he's from, but he's from South Africa. And I don't even remember what his full-time work used to be before he got into knife making. As far as I know, he's a part-time knife maker at this point. I'm assuming he's going to be going full-time soon, or if not, he's already full-time making knives. But he's kind of at a crossroads where he's coming to to the end of creating, like, trying to find the model knives that he's going to go with. Like I said, this is one of the very first knives he ever made or came out with at that time when he was trying to get his name introduced out there. I'm assuming this was right around the time that he was accepted into the South African Knife Guild at this time. So you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot of Henny Duplessis in the future. On a sad note, which kind of just, and I can understand why it pissed him off. He was all set to go to Blade Show 2023, which is this year, and ironically, so was I. The plan was that the two of us were going to meet each other at Blade Show, and I was going to get a chance to sit at his table. I was all excited. And then he contacted me about... he contacted me, I think, about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, and he said, I'm not going to the Blade Gallery because they shoved me all the way in the back at this back table where no one can even see me, and it just pissed him off so much that he decided to sort of just back out of Blade Show this year. So I guess that you could say that I'm kind of trying to help promote his work for this year, at least to some degree. So now back to Henny Duplessis. He's got, I'm going to put this knife over here to the side for a minute. He's got a couple of brand new models that he's going to be introducing, and this is one of them. And I've done a full-blown video on this knife already. And I've actually had a hand in the promotion of this knife. I must repeat that, the promotion of this knife, not the making of the knife, because, Omar, Edge of South Africa guy, is not good with tools. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. It's just not going to happen, so I kind of rely on guys like Henny to do the knife building for me, even though he's actually encouraged me to take a knife building class. I think I'm going to pass at this point, because I'm perfectly happy just being a knife collector. But in any case, this is one of his more newer models. At the time that I purchased this knife, my contribution to this knife here is that I named it Okay, in other words, I named the model of the knife. That's pretty much all I've done with this. He originally called this knife the Yaga folder. I don't even know what Yaga means, but I'm pretty sure it's a South African term. And when I saw it, I said, you know, Henny, it looks like a rocket. You should call it a rocket. And then he told me, well, I'm actually making a larger version of it. And I said, well, then great, call this one the missile. So the name of this knife I'm going to say is called the missile. And there's a larger version of this knife. I believe the larger version is going to be right around 3.1, maybe 3.2 inches. You can pretty much bet that Hennie Duplessis is not going to be making any large knives, or if he does, it's probably just going to be an experiment. But for right now, this is pretty much the largest knife that he makes at this point in time. And this one, I believe, is I think it's 3.3-inch blade on this T Griffin. So most of his knives will be fairly small. He's a liner lock guy. He makes his knives completely by hand. There are no machines being used in the making of any of his knives. He does them all by hand. Most of his knives all run on ball bearings, steel ball bearings. That is going to change. He is now at the point where he's going to be making all of his knives with ceramic ball bearings. So for anyone out there that's already collecting knives and you really want the smoothness of ceramic ball bearings, you're going to get that with Hennie Duplessis. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of funny how the pocket clips are kind of like something else that he does. One of the things that Hennie Duplessis is really well known for, and this is something that he's done that's completely different than any other knife maker I've seen. And you're going to see that in the next knife that he's going to be sending me to review and take a look at. He does incredible work with backspacers. You don't see backspacers that are sort of sculpted very often. Usually a knife maker will, the art of a knife maker for a backspacer would be just to make it out of Damascus or Damascus or, something. And Hennie Duplessis is really well known for, at least from what I can see, playing around with the shape of the backspacer, giving it more of an artistic flair. He's really good with that. And when I saw this knife, that was one of the reasons why I bought it, because this back bar, I've never seen anything like that on any knife. So when it popped up on this T Griffin, again, I just had to have it. But as you guys can see, it's sort of raised, it's sort of sculpted, it's not flat and recessed. He actually thought out the design for it. I think it's completely unique, and I don't think anyone has ever done anything like that. Not even knife makers that are, that have been around for quite a while and actually doing it. Guys like, who I consider the guy that he looks most like. John Arnold, he doesn't do anything particularly different with backspace, except, well, actually, that's not true. He does do what's called a moon glow backspacer. So that's, exclusively with John Arnold, where he makes these glow in the dark backspacers. But, case in point, you can see that Hennie Duplessis pretty much does the same thing, where he'll recreate the concept of what you call a backspacer, or in this case, a back bar. And that caught the eye of Jeff at the Blade Gallery as well. He's never seen anything like it. So it's obvious that the guy knows what he's doing as far as catching people's attention and getting them to just sort of try to envision the knife more as an artistic piece. But yet, when you hold his knives, you can certainly tell that he didn't leave out the fact that this is a knife and you can use my knife and this is a tool. It's just that he's gone to the point where, he can take the concept of a knife and literally just re-envision it without going outside the lines of, is this still a tool? Because the answer to that question is yes, it's still a tool. He just makes it where you can see all different kinds of art and sculpting on all of his knives. So in any case, back to this model here, which is why I'm doing the video. In this case, the missile, the larger version of the knife, is called the rocket. Again, I named the knife, or the model knife. I just thought it might be a little bit more, kind of like more Americanizes the knife to a point where people will want them, will want a knife like this. Because it really is unique. I've never seen anything like it. His tolerances on all of his knives are incredibly tight. Centering, there's no reason to even question it. It's always perfect. This is a full dress piece. And some of the things that Hennie Duplessis does has never been seen. I mean, I've never seen a pivot like that where it's all blue. I don't know if I'm assuming, because the knives are made by hand. So if you look closely on the pivot, they have these sort of craters on them that he kind of put. I don't know if guys can see that, but it's sort of textured with these little craters in them. I'm not sure if that was done with a special tool or not. To take the knife apart, though, that doesn't require a special tool. I can tell you right now. I'm not sure, but you could definitely use regular knife tools to take this one apart if you ever wanted to. I wouldn't. I'm not a take apart kind of guy, but some people might want to do that. One of the things that he does also is that his hardware is really tiny, almost to the point where it's just an afterthought, which is great. Because you want to be able to focus on the marble carbon fiber, you want to be able to focus on the Damascus bolster there. He also has a Damascus backspacer, which is absolutely beautiful. Although, I probably would have been fine with maybe a steel back bar like he did on this one, but I'm glad that he did that in, you know, Damascus in any case. Really beautiful Damascus drop point blade. And again, his signature, sort of jimping, really far spaced, but still works quite well. Not sharp at all, but very useful from what I can see. Again, he's got it with the ergonomics. I mean, this is a very comfortable knife to hold in my hand. I'm really not, there's no hot spots with it. Obviously, the pocket clip does not get in the way. You can find the signature. One of the things that he does, it's almost the same thing that Trevor Berger does. You have to kind of look for a signature on the knife. What he does is he puts the signature on the inside of the backspacer. There's his logo right there, Hennie Duplessis. And then there's his name on the inside of the backspacer. Really just beautiful, beautiful work. I actually thought this was a ceramic ball bearing knife, and it wasn't, because it's so smooth. His front flipper design is really nice. I'm not quite sure it's much different than what I've seen on other knives, but it is a little bit more accessible than some that I've seen. So he's made it so you can easily pop it open with your thumb. If you're an index finger guy, not a problem there either. So, he's pretty much thought out his knives, the design of his knives, and the guy's just going to keep on going and going and going. Along with this knife, which is the missile, and then the larger one, which, by the way, he's making me a large one called the rocket. I'll be getting that one. I think I'm getting it maybe I don't know when, but I know I'm going to be getting it soon. Right now, he's really kind of busy. But I wanted to show this off to you guys. I'm going to show it to you. It's on my iPad. I don't know where else I'm going to be able to show it to you. Let's take a look here. Okay, so along with the knife itself, which is called the missile, the smaller version is the missile. I'm going to get to the size in that in a minute. I don't even remember. I should have looked up the specs for this one, but I'm just pretty much gonna eye it for you on this knife. But along with the knife, you're gonna be getting obviously a case, and definitely one of these, which is his promotional coin that goes with the knife, which is kind of cool. It's called the Rocket 2023. It's got the planet and the rocket on one side of the knife. You're gonna get one of these with, as far as I understand it, you're gonna get one of these with the knife itself when you start selling them, and then there's the back side of the coin. There's his name, Hennie Duplessis Custom Knives, with his HDP logo on there. And then Hennie Duplessis, you can catch him at Instagram at Bullet to Blade. And on Facebook, it's HD Plessy. So there's a little promotion thing for him there. So there's the coin. It's really kind of cool. I really, because obviously I'm going to get one of these when he sells me my knife. So I can't wait, and everyone else will be able to check that out. So anyway, so with this, with this knife, what this does is this is pretty much going to put him out in front as a knife maker. I'm hoping this model, and he's told me already that this model is selling like hotcakes already. The shape of the knife kind of appeals to people, and the fact that there's going to be a little bit of a larger version of it. When I came up with this concept with Hennie, as far as the promotion of the knife, remember, I'm just a promotional guy. I have nothing to do with actually making the knife, right? I told him what he should consider doing is that if these full dress piece versions of the knife are such a huge hit, he may want to consider doing plain Jane versions of the same knife. I don't know if it's going to be possible to do one in all titanium, but he could certainly do that in all titanium. But since he's a lighter lock knife maker, he could probably come up with a rocket and a missile with, maybe lesser materials, maybe like G10 or something where, something where it's not going to be as pricey. Right now, the price for his knives are not as high as they should be, just because he's still trying to get his name out there. But the price for his knives right now, I'm telling you, it's very, very quickly rising with the help of the Blade Gallery, with the help of I believe Arizona Custom Knives may be selling his knives as well. I don't know, whatever knife promotion he can get that's out there right now. I know he gets a big help from the Blade Gallery at this point in time, because he's got like 6 knives with the Blade Gallery at this point in time. So if you wanted to see what other knife models he's got, and he's got a lot of them. I've actually seen a couple that I've never even seen before. But I believe you'll see a rocket on there, and another model sort of the same, but maybe a little bit squarer in shape. I don't even know what that knife is. But the thing with Hennie Duplessis is that he is limitless in the using of knife materials. He uses everything from Damascus to marble carbon fiber to meteorite. I'm going to have a meteorite knife from him someday soon. Meteorite on his knife. He also uses things like ivory and mammoth molar and all kinds of other materials, organic and inorganic materials that Hennie Duplessis is using. So the options you can get with any one of his liner knives is going to be limitless. And of course, it's going to be kind of fun if you decide to order a knife from him. Maybe you want to save up some cash, get something special for yourself. You can talk with him on Instagram and discuss what materials he has, that he can make you something special. He's just, he's at the point now where he's coming to the crossroads of becoming less reclusive and more out there as a knife maker. People are going to get his name. His name is going to start coming out there. Even though he wasn't seen at Blade Show, he was still able to sell quite a few knives in this style. But I mean, it's a good thing that he came out with the rocket, because I'm not really quite sure that this would appeal to a lot of knife enthusiasts, unless you're a knife enthusiast like myself who likes pretty much everything. No matter what you do, you're going to have to find a model shape that's just going to appeal to the masses. And I think he's found that with the rocket and the missile. that's going to pretty much put him on the map as a knife maker. And, he can maybe say goodbye to his day job. Like I said, I don't know if he's actually quit his day job yet. But, once he finds a model knife that people love, he can certainly go full time and make knives with this model here, the Rocket. Because everybody's got to start out somewhere. So my concept for the Rocket was he should have one called a Rocket and one called a Missile, sort of like the way that Trevor Berger has the Lex K and the EXK, large and small knife for just pretty much to give people a taste of what he can do. And I think that if he goes this route with the Rocket and the Missile, he's going to really have something. Because, his artwork on these knives are just absolutely spectacular. He does put a lot of pride in everything that he does when he makes his knives. I really see him going a long, long way. As a knife maker. And I think you'll find when you get your hands on one of these models, either the Rocket or the Missile, you're going to be really happy. Like I said, I'll be getting a couple of more knives from him just to look at and review because he wants me to show these on my channel. And these two knives that he's got coming for me in June. He wants me to review them and tell him what I think. So I thought maybe you guys as my audience will do that together and check that knife out. Cause I've seen pictures of it. And right now he's currently making it right now. So we'll be able to take a look at that knife and you guys can maybe even tell me if, you like the knife model or you don't like the knife model. Maybe I'll have you guys maybe vote on it or, obviously, what we're hoping is that you guys that are watching my channel, when I get those two knives, maybe you can give me all of your input on what you think of those knives just from watching my video on them and what you guys might think, because that would definitely help him also. So we'll all kind of like have a hand in reshaping the knife whichever way he goes. But I'm telling you right now, whatever it is that he's going to send me, it's going to look freaking awesome. And I'm really excited to see that model, as well as my Rocket that's coming. I'm not even sure when, but I'm hoping he's going to take his time because I'm currently waiting for another knife from Clyde Challenor, which is my Viper. So, he's been, really kind of nice and like delaying my knife for now, because this is an expensive hobby and my channel doesn't really make any money. So, you got to do, you do what you can. It is a hobby, and I do love it. So, and I wanted to sort of just showcase a thing, a knife maker that I have a passion for, and I kind of hope maybe you guys would begin to learn to have a passion for them because this is a really beautiful looking folder with that pocket clip on there. It's just really sweet looking. I think probably, well, I don't know. I'm not even sure, but he could possibly maybe shorten his pocket clips on these smaller knives. I don't know, but I don't have a problem with it because to be honest with you, I don't use the pocket clip. I just put the knives in my pocket. I enjoy carrying my knives like that. It's also the only thing I put in my pocket when I put a knife in that pocket, and it's usually my right pocket that I have it in. Nothing else goes in it, just the knife itself. So, Hennie Duplessis, yeah. Check him out on Instagram. Like I said, I'm going to be doing another video on the two new knives that he's going to be sending me to review, so I really can't wait to get that one. That one's going to be a much longer video than this one right now, which is now running a half hour long. But hopefully I can try and get that down. So the size of this knife overall, man, I'm not good with specs, but the blade is roughly about 2.3 inches in length, and the handle itself is about 3 inches in length. So you're looking at a length overall of about sort of a 7-inch knife overall. Really just an awesome piece. Again, very quickly, we have a beautiful Damascus blade, drop point blade. We also have Damascus bolster and marble carbon fiber handles on the knife with a Damascus pocket clip. A forged, I'm assuming, titanium pivot, because it's got these craters in there that I don't know how he did the craters, but it's got these sort of craters into the pivot there to give it sort of a textured look, really nice looking. Just an overall awesome piece. The Hennie Duplessis missile. Check it out. And I just wanted to give my 2 cents in again with Hennie Duplessis. I consider the guy a friend. I really kind of hope we can make it work at Blade Show next year. Again, it's going to be my first time going. I've never gone, so I'm a Blade Show virgin to all you guys out there that watch my channel. I'm a Blade Show virgin. I've never gone. So hopefully 2024 will be my year. And hopefully they'll give Hennie Duplessis a little bit better respect by giving him a much more respectable table at Blade Show. I think he deserves it. In case you're wondering, I forgot to also mention, he is a member of the South African Guild. I think he did that. I think maybe he did it maybe a couple of years ago. He got in, which is actually a huge process, which he told me, and I'll probably going to mention that next time on the next video. But he finally got in, so that makes him a legit knife maker in the eyes of his peers, and of course in the eyes of people like myself and who's his customer. He didn't need to be a member of the guild for me to buy his knife. I mean, I just love his work, period. I think the stuff that he does is just absolutely awesome. So check him out on Instagram. You can see all the models he's got. Some of them have come to fruition. Some of them are experimental. Either way, every one that he makes is just going to be a creative thought process for him until he, comes up with models that are going to appeal to the masses. And with the rocket and the missile, I think he's definitely on his way to getting there, so that at least people, your average knife layman who probably collects production knife after production knife from ZT, Spyderco, CRKT, whatever, Benchmade, maybe they'll just pass by his table, check out his stuff, and go, wow, I really like that. I think that's pretty much what every knife maker hopes will happen. And for Hennie Duplessis, it's my opinion that the guy's on his way right now. I just think the best thing he can do is just keep on doing what he's doing, experiment with models, check him out, contact me. Maybe I can help him, decide whether it's a model knife that would appeal to the masses. Otherwise, I don't have any problem with him just releasing a model and seeing what it does. As expensive as that is, because he'll create one or two that models that are experimental, and then put them out there on his Instagram page and see if they appeal to anybody. It's a process. That's what knife promoting is, and knife making is that it's a process. You have to find out, is this something that's going to appeal to the public, or is this something that's just too far off? I mean, so if you check out his Instagram page, you're going to see a couple of knives there that are looking almost like total like knife sculptures, where they're so out there. They're almost MC Escher-ish, and it's just you almost forget that they're actually knives. But that's what Hennie Duplessis is doing. He's trying to find a niche. He's trying to find what's going to appeal to people, and that's how everybody gets started in the world of knife making. Is you have to find something that's going to appeal to the masses. And like I said, with the rocket and the missile, which is this knife here, I think he's going to hit it, because this is a very attractive looking folder. So that is it for me in talking about Hennie Duplessis, one of my all-time favorite knife makers and friend. Check him out on Instagram at Blit2Blade. Check him out. I think you guys can be happy with his work. And be on the lookout for Rocket. This is Omar, your Edge of South Africa guy, promoting South African knives and the promotion of my friend and knife maker, Hennie Duplessis. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a great and happy Sunday.